So this is a review of Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 2, The Mines of Mandalore. Sounds like the Mines of Moria. There's a mechanical spider that resembles the giant spider from Lord of the Rings, which Harry Potter ripped off later. But it's a mechanical one. And it's also Black Arachnia that's driving it. Little thing driving it. Well, sort of. Crossed with the Dreadnought from Star Trek. So basically the Mandalorian guy has to get a droid, so he goes back to Tatooine to that lady that's half furry, half techie. It's into critters and technology. She's into everything. And yeah, that old lady, and she gives him a droid that's similar to the one from some Return to the from A New Hope, I guess. It's supposed to be that one. Or one that's similar. This other droid that was rejected and R2-D2 took over. So that's the other droid. We have Mandalorian trying to teach Grogu about navigation. Of course, he's good at that somehow. And conveniently for plot contrivances, claiming the moons of the planet that they've been to with the castle and all that. The Katie Sackhoff's character is actually from a moon of it, and he's also from a moon of it, of this other planet in the Mandalore system, which makes no sense, but it's Star Wars and they're hyperspace. Also makes no sense. They just want to get from point A to point B, so they do, sort of like old sci-fi serials. Even though it doesn't make sense as to where things are in that galaxy. And it's not a small galaxy. They've seen pictures of it. It's a barred spiral like ours. It's probably Andromeda. Anyway, so the Star Wars so that doesn't make sense. So he goes to the mine thing looking to see if the atmosphere was okay. It does beg the question if the lady who was royalty knew, the one that was she from the castle, she'd been there before it was destroyed and afterward, meaning she must be really long-lived because it looked like a disaster zone. How did it not get out a long time ago, centuries earlier? That there was nothing wrong with the surface. There were alien critters on the surface that were alive. There were monsters. There were critters that looked like something out of Rejected from Willow, and then other Star Wars stuff. At times they looked fake, which is why they shot it in low light, using the panoramic screen that that Star Trek Discovery also uses, or one similar to it. At times they built a set that looks like a set, but it's mainly the panoramic screen. We're not actually going to endanger the actors in the story. And then we have them sailing through stuff and going after bad guys, chasing them or pulling them along through caverns. They're probably going to make a ride out of this thing. For a big ride. Indiana Jones style ride. Yeah. Searching through a mine in gray, shades of gray, trying to find going down to a well of souls type of thing and bathing in it like it's some sort of a thing. But there's a creature, a sea monster down there. But she doesn't know that, or does she? But earlier the monster, the spider monster, captures him, and that leads to Gru having to fly off back to the moon and southern moon and go rescue him. And all of this takes place in a matter of minutes, apparently. The astromech droid was with him, so he's actually the real pilot. But it's the yippee thing all over again. That's a good trick. I'll do a roll. And he's flying a starfighter from the the prequels. Yeah, I guess there's no one checking that system out. No one's ever been there since Mandalore fell apart. And if Mandalore only fell apart about 50 years ago, then they totally would remember it and know what happened. It wouldn't be cured yet. The curse on the planet wouldn't be the atmosphere being devastated. It would rather be creatures and critters that are on the planet like the critter down in the ocean, which she should have known about. But she went down there and rescued him from the critter. But, so she kind of knew, I guess. It ends with them having been saved. But yeah, it didn't do much. And as we know from the end of Book of Boba Fett, they took 3 episodes they couldn't use from season 3, and because they fired Carino, and just used the parts of it that were him, and got him a new ship and stuff, and visited the furry lady and stuff. The furry lady does her thing, and we come to the end of the story with the Mandalorian. It's a silly, but yeah, it's Disney Star Wars. I suppose the lady saving the guy will be considered, the guy, but she's supposed to be badass though, so it's okay. So anyway, the Mandalorian is yeah, it's fine.